Welcome back. So welcome back to negative listed services. So we have so far we have been discussing various services which are under the negative list. Say good morning barf barf E2 T4 formula. So in this E2 T4 formula, good morning barf barf. What are the services we have discussed so far? See, one is services relating to government. That is A, government services by government or local authority, and next B, that is RBI services. So this is B, and next foreign diplomatic missions, that is F category. C, government services by Reserve Bank of India, and services by foreign diplomatic missions. All these three are by, means these three categories are service providers. When they provide these services, these specified services, they are negative, as the case may be. And what else? D, we went ahead with agriculture. D, clause D, 66. These are section 66D categories. A, B, C, and D. D for agriculture. And next E. E, that is about trading. T, and next to trading it is manufacture. It is F. Okay, so manufacture. And then G, advertisement. And again H, toll charges. Okay, toll charge services are under the negative list. Services by way of allowing access to roads, bridges, etc. National highway toll charges are collected. Those services are under the negative list, non-taxable. But it doesn't mean that whatever services they receive, they are also negative. No. You are a service provider, you are providing some service, maybe that is in the negative list. Then it doesn't mean whatever services you receive, they are not necessarily in the negative list. Service tax is still payable. For that, they have also given example. For example, commission agent, collection agents. The toll charges, the person who is organizing these toll charges collection has appointed somebody, some agency to collect as collecting agents. The collection agents collect some amount from the toll charges people. These are not negative. Service tax is payable. For all services, input services that you receive, you have to pay. That is what specified in section 66F clause 1. Right? So after toll charges, what are the things left over? I, J, K. I, J, and K. So very simple. I stands for betting, lottery, or gambling. So betting, lottery, gambling is a state subject, so they wanted to put it in negative list. But at the same time, what they have specified is some portion of lottery, selling, organizing lottery tickets, marketing the lottery tickets, because that activity is a service specifically mentioned that it is not treated as an activity of actionable claim or transaction in money. To that extent, that becomes taxable. So this entry number I will not affect it. The entry number I will not affect it. So leaving that portion, say for example, it is like this: betting, lottery, etc. But some portion is there now. This portion is a service as per section 65B 44. Look at explanation 2. Explanation, as per explanation 2, this is service. Leaving this, the rest is under the negative list. So to that extent, they have also added some two lines. Say, let me see. Betting, gambling or lottery under 66DI, and betting, lottery and gambling or lottery. But what is the explanation they have given beneath? They say, for the purposes of this clause, that is about lottery, the expression betting, gambling or lottery shall not include the activity. Which type of activity? Specified in explanation 2 to clause 65b 44. In explanation 2 65b 44, whatever activity has been specified, that shall not include this, means to that extent it becomes taxable. So now issue is, what is it that has been specified? That activity 65b. See, 65b I was talking about, right? Let me say. In section 65b 44, explanation 2 is talking about some activity. What is that activity? Any activity carried out for a consideration in relation to or for facilitation of a transaction in money or auctionable claim, including what it is, including the activity carried out by a lottery distributor. So activity carried out by a lottery distributor or selling agent, in relation to promotion, marketing, say promotion, marketing, they are talking about promoting, marketing, organizing, selling of lottery or facilitating in organizing a lottery of any kind. Promotion, selling, organizing activity with reference to lottery. This is given in the explanation 2. To this extent, it becomes taxable. Rest of activity relating to lottery or gambling or whatever it is, gambling or betting, no doubt they are in the negative list, and to the extent of the activity specified other than this, specified in explanation 2 to 65b 44, that is in the negative list. So this you have to take it with a pinch of salt. Okay, so leaving this part, the rest becomes negative, and this is, to this extent, this is taxable. 65b 44. So what about J? J is no more. Events, entertainments, amusements, all these things done away with. And K is about electricity generation. K means kilowatt, just to remember. How do you remember? How do you mug up? I don't know, but you are doing it anyway. I have given you some clues also. See, I'm also remembering, no? By some means or the other, by some or other means I am also remembering. You also do in your own way. K stands for kilowatts, that is electricity. L stands for learning, that is education. That way I remember. M stands for makan, that is renting. N stands for nakad, that is banking, financial services, like that. Wherever possible, I use my own memory techniques and I remember. You also do that way. But anyway, negative list and mega exemption, we have to do it with a heart. Okay. So K, this is about electricity. See, electricity is generated, electricity is transmitted, and electricity is distributed. These are the three activities. Let me write here. For example, electricity generation, that is created. Generation of electricity. After generation, there can be transmission, that is transferring from one place to another. Transmitting or transmission from one place to another place. And next, distribution. So that is taken to the doorsteps of a consumer. Finally, and this activity, let me make it very clear. What is this generation of activity, generation of electricity? Generation of electricity is a sort of manufacture. You are generating means you are creating. It is a sort of manufacturing activity. So this has not been mentioned in the negative list, you observe. I read out for your convenience anyway. Generation of electricity, they are not talking about. They are talking about transmission or distribution. And this transmission or distribution is a part of activity, is a service. But if it is done by state electricity board or central board or something like that, or somebody who is doing with the delegated powers, with the delegation, somebody is interested in this job. Nowadays, private distribution is taking place. The private party is undertaking the responsibility to distribute. So, if it is done that way, to that extent, they don't want to collect any tax on this activity, because already electricity, no doubt, it's a state subject. Number one, number two, it's of a public interest. So, no government wants to incur the wrath of the public. It's very dangerous. Water and electricity are the two issues on which people are winning elections. In our Delhi, that happened. That is followed by other states also very soon. So it's a very serious matter, highly essential, electricity and water. So nobody wants to touch. So no question of any taxation. But if private people do that, I have a power plant, I generate electricity and I distribute, I sell. Rather I sell, I have to pay service tax. That is not having advantage. Only public distribution, where electricity is transmitted and distributed under public distribution system in general, that is under the negative list. So let me read out regarding electricity. So look at this. Transmission or distribution of electricity. Transmission or distribution of electricity by an electricity transmission or distribution utility. Electricity transmission or distribution utility. I'm not going elaborately. Electricity transmission or distribution utility, they have been specified, they have been rather defined. So obviously, state electricity boards and their delegated parties, central boards, central electricity boards, etc., come under the picture. So public distribution system, you can say. Section 65B, Section 65B, 23, where it has been defined electricity transmission or distribution utility. Electricity transmission or distribution utility. Electricity transmission or distribution utility. So it has been defined as Central Electricity Authority, Central Electricity Authority, State Electricity Authority, State Electricity Board, Central Transmission Utility or State Transmission Utility notified under the Electricity Act 2003. So under the Act of 2003, Electricity Act 2003. So these are central or state organization, or distribution or transmission licensee, or a distribution or transmission licensee, the people who got license to do that, or any other entity entrusted with such function by the central government, or as the case may be by state government. So whatever with the distribution system is there, some private parties are there. So the job has been entrusted to them by state governments mostly, sometimes central government. All these come under this. Whatever services they provide in terms of transmission or distribution, that is under the negative list. But important thing is private parties, if private parties do it, that becomes taxable. Okay? So electricity distribution system. And K. What about L? Section 66D. L for learning, that is educational services. This is a little elaborative. What about the educational services? There are three categories of educational services which they have put under negative list deliberately. Obviously, they need to. How? See, I'll put it like this. Educational services. These are educational services. So these educational services, there are three categories. Look at the three categories. One category is higher secondary school. Higher secondary school up to 12th standard, 11th and 12th. In some states it is called intermediate. All services, higher secondary, all services provided and received in connection with higher secondary education up to 12th class. Whether it is private coaching, tuitions or transport, anything, all sorts of services to and fro this education relating to higher secondary education, that is in the negative list. Second one is certificate courses. Certificate courses, say there is some service and where there is some examination or otherwise test or training. After that you will be getting a qualification, that is qualification course, certificate. You will be getting a certificate. For example, you are pursuing CA and after qualifying the examination you will get the certificate that you are a chartered accountant, associate chartered accountant. Like that MBA, university courses, college courses, colleges, universities, all recognized by law, means Indian law. Suppose they are by foreign laws, if they are recognized by foreign law, then what happens? It's not possible. Only certificate courses recognized by Indian law. Done? And the other one is vocational courses. Vocational courses mean technical courses. These vocational courses approved, they used the language approved. Approved by governmental authority, government agencies. So approved. So under this they come ITI, Polytechnic, etc. Technical courses. Okay. So up to higher secondary all services, but in other cases certificate courses recognized by Indian law, nothing else and nothing more, and vocational courses approved. So not everything, approved courses. These three HCV, these three are, you can say, under the negative list. So far so good. And what about mega exemption? That is also important, equally important. So under mega exemption, there is a long list, lengthy. This we have to understand. And for mega exemption, look at entry number 8. Entry number 8. So what is there in entry number 8? Recreational activities. See, relating to recreational activities, training or coaching, art, culture, etc. Any art, culture, etc., training activities. Training, if any training is there, any coaching is given under entry number 8, it is exempt. So let me read out entry number 8. Services by way of training or coaching in recreational activities relating to art, culture or sports. Art, culture or sports, ACS. Art, culture or sports. Recreational activities, it should be a training or coaching. relating to art, culture, or this sports, then to that extent it is exempt. Like this, other things are also there which we have to look into. The educational services, three types of services are under the negative list. One is higher secondary education. Number two, qualification related services like university, colleges, MBA courses, etc., recognized by law. Third one is approved list of services, say relating to polytechnic, ITI, etc., technical courses, but approved by. So there is a specific case of approval. Approved technical courses, recognized qualification courses, plus all services up to higher secondary education. This is in the negative list. Then what about mega exemption? In mega exemption, main entry is entry number 9, but of course, let us see, there is entry number 4. There is something there in entry number 4. And entry number 8. And also entry number 9. So let us see entry number 9 first. In entry number 9, services provided by educational institution, services provided to or received by educational institution. So all services provided by, see, as an educational institution is a service provider. Services provided by educational institution. EI means educational institution. What do you mean by educational institution, by the way? Because here it has a specific meaning, that is educational institutions which enjoy the benefit of a negative list, means which are non-taxable. So we are talking about those educational institutions which are enjoying non-taxability because of their negative nature. So we are talking about them. So if whatever services they provide to staff, students, or faculty. Services provided to the staff, services provided to the students, and services provided to the faculty. But these services become exempt only if they are provided by the educational institutions which are enjoying the benefit of negative list. So we should be very careful. And what about the other services? The category, certain services provided to you can say TCS AE services. So transport. Any transport services provided to educational institution which is enjoying the benefit of negative list. Say for example up to 12th standard, colleges, schools, whatever it is, recognized under a law. Okay. So here, see, the transport services are exempt. Similarly, what about other services? Cleaning services or security services. Cleaning services provided to the educational institutions which are non-taxable, and security agency services provided to educational institutions which are non-taxable. And similarly, so others like catering services, catering, cleaning or security services, okay, and then any service relating to admission or examination. So these services non-taxable. Okay, so entry number 9 is very, very important. It's a big one. which is also offering exemption. So mega exemption under entry number 9. So what about entry number 8? In entry number 8, they are talking about training or coaching. Training or coaching. Relating to amusement, say recreational activity. Training or coaching in recreational activity. So what do you mean by recreational activity? They have been specified recreational activities in art, culture or sports. Art, culture or sports. In art, culture or sports, any recreational activities regarding that any training or coaching is given, that is exempt. So that is also done. What about entry number 4? What is there in entry number 4? Services by an entity registered under section 12AA. Charitable purposes by way of charitable activities. It should be necessarily registered under section 12AA of Income Tax Act. That's very important. So in order to claim exemption under this set, following 2 conditions. One is registered. Another one is it carries out one or more of the specified charitable activities. Now the question is, what do you mean by charitable activities? Charitable activities has been defined under the exemption notification. So next again, let's see. Charitable activities means activities relating to public health, A, care of counseling of so and so, B, public awareness. Next, advancement. Come here. So here it is advancement of educational programs or skill development relating to what type of skills? Skill development. Advancement of educational programs or skill development relating to abandoned or orphaned homeless children, physically or mentally abused, traumatized persons, prisoners, persons over the age of 65 years residing in a rural area, above 65 years and also residing in a rural area. If these 4 categories ABCD, if there is any service relating to advancement of educational program or skill development, you are improving their skill, and with the help of their skill they will be able to make a living. So this is also exempt. Any other object of general public utility up to a value of these things, no? These have been omitted. This has been omitted in the budget 2013. This part we need not study. Okay. So in educational services, what is an educational service? We understood. And what are exempt? We understood. Under exemption, what are the entry numbers we are getting? Main entry number is 9 and of course 8 incidentally, 4 relating to charitable activity. So with the definition of charitable activity, we are percolating down to these 4 categories for which if educational programs or skill development programs are conducted, to that extent they are exempt, right? Okay. Let's go back to a new slide. Okay, so now we got educational services also. Say K for electricity, L for education. L means learning, K for kilowatt. Okay, and banking or financial services. Next one is KLM. Let me do M first. 66D clause M. This clause M is makan. Makan means housing. So renting of residential property. Renting of residential property. Residential property for residential purpose. See, renting of residential property for residential purpose. You see, it should be renting and it should be a residential property and it should be given for residential purpose. 3R, RRR. Suppose renting is there, but a commercial property, this is a commercial property given for residential purpose. So this is taxable. Why? Why it is taxable? Because it is not residential property, it is commercial property, or renting is there and it has been given for commercial purpose, commercial property already mentioned. So residential property, renting a residential property but for commercial purpose, then it's not residential purpose, this is also taxable. Or renting of non-commercial non-residential property we are renting to residential purpose, here also it is taxable. So simply speaking, all property, it should be residential and it should be given for residential purpose. Residential property given for residential purpose, for the purpose of renting. If all the three are satisfied, then yes, otherwise service tax becomes payable. And if it is commercial property, what happens? There are some relaxations also. Hotel, inn, etc., etc. If you give it away on rent, daily rent below 1,000 rupees, it is exempt. Below 1,000 rupees per day, it is exempt. If it is 1,000 rupees and above, if it is above 1,000 rupees or 1,000 rupees and above, then it becomes taxable. But for that, there is an abatement available, subject to reduction. So in the abatement scheme, you'll find it. Look at entry number 18. Look at entry number 18. So this entry number 18 says services by a hotel, inn, guest house, club or campsite by whatever name called for residential or lodging purposes, having declared tariff of a unit of accommodation below 1,000 rupees per day or equivalent. So if it is below 1,000, if the rent is below 1,000, it is exempt. So here, if you percolate down to section 66D M Makan says negative. If 3 R's are satisfied, residential property given for residential purpose on rent basis. And again, entry number 18, it says if the tariff is below 1,000, okay, so below 1,000 per day, then it is exempt. If it is 1,000 rupees and above, it is taxable but subject to abatement. There is some abatement. So it is like this. And now M is complete. And what about N? Nakar. Section 66D N, that is banking or financial services. See, banking or financial services. What about the banking or financial services? Already we know services provided by RBI, they are exempt, they are in the negative list. And what about others? So in the negative list they have given certain services. They have clearly mentioned what type of services they want to give relaxation. So here, banking or financial institution services, if you see, services relating to interest, where you are collecting interest or where you are collecting discounting of bills or getting some discounts, repos or reverse repos. This is also a sort of repos and reverse repo transactions. These are the transactions made by banks with the RBI. It is a sort of lending and borrowing. So lending and borrowing on an interest rate for interest. So it is transaction is money in money. These are transactions in money, and there cannot be any service and no service tax. And similarly, forex inter-C. Forex transactions inter-C. Inter-C means, so what do you mean by inter-C? Within themselves. For example, among banks, one bank dealing with another bank with regard to forex exchange, or authorized dealer, under FEMA. See, we read under section 10 of the FEMA. So authorized dealers, ADs, or authorized persons. Authorized dealer, money changer, like that. So these are all coming under the category of authorized persons. These authorized persons dealing with forex. So among themselves, one dealer, it may be a bank or non-bank, dealing with another dealer. Business to business transactions. These are, you can say, B2B transactions, not B2C transactions. B2B business to business transactions, these are exempt. Whether it is bank or into individuals or institutions. What about B2C transactions? Business to customers. So B2C, business to customer or consumer. So these are taxable. Suppose a bank deals with forex, right? So it deals with forex with regard to an individual. Say somebody goes and says, I have $1,000 US. Please convert them into Indian rupees. So it's a forex service. He may submit Indian rupees and he wants to get American dollars or some other currency. So this is forex transactions. So if the forex transactions are made to customer or consumer, then that is taxable. But B2B transactions are not taxable. So remember, B2B transactions are not taxable. So if you look at mega exemption, hardly anything is there. In mega exemption, right now, earlier there were many things. Right now only few things. That is in mega exemption, business facilitator services or insurance facilitator. So business facilitator services are exempt and other services have become taxable. They have been made taxable. So let me read out or let me tell you. So we'll go to slide. If we go to PPT presentation, we'll see there. So look at this, please. Entry number 29. This is entry number 29. So services by the following persons in respective capacities. In respective capacities, say sub-broker or an authorized person to a stockbroker. This is exempt. Even today it is exempt. And authorized person to a member of a commodity exchange. Because commodity transactions are also taking place. Speculative transactions. Commodity exchange. But see, this mutual fund agent to mutual fund or asset management company, earlier it was exempt. Now, no exemption. Now it is taxable. Very important. So, because this is taxable, this has been put under reverse charge now. See, reverse charge is not something separate. It's a part of the activity. So, this is under reverse charge. Similarly, distributor to a mutual fund or asset management company. Now it is taxable. See, now it is taxable. It is taxable now. And selling or marketing agent of lottery tickets. Earlier it was under the mega exemption. Now this agency services have been brought under service tax, this thing. And if you look at the definition of section 65B 44, explanation 2, it is talking about this selling or marketing agent of lottery tickets to a distributor or a selling agent. Now it is taxable. Earlier it was under mega exemption list. Of course, selling agent or a distributor of SIM cards or recharge coupon vouchers. So deliberately it is still enjoying exemption, it should be there. Otherwise, nobody is paying tax. Why to keep it taxable? Business facilitator, you see this, or a business correspondent to a banking company or an insurance company in a rural area. That has been explained there. So, as per Section 5 of the Banking Regulation Act, a banking company means a company which transacts business of banking in India. This is a definition. So, now mutual fund item number C, D, E, these became taxable now. The rest still enjoy exemption. Okay, so let's go back. What about other services? So let's take a page. Section 66DO. Start with persons, passengers. It is not persons, it is passengers. Passengers means we are talking about commercial activity. Not persons, it is passengers. So we are carrying passengers. So this is generally, so first of all, to some extent, to a large extent, public transport is under the negative list. If you are carrying to public transport, say public transport means, what could be public transport? General idea. Then after that we will read the relevant entry. In public transport you see metro, monorail, or even train, other than AC coach. Travel in AC coach or first class coaches. Up. So AC, non-AC travel. You can say in India non-AC travel is not attracting any service tax. And similarly auto, metered cab. So cabs, naturally cabs are having meters. On the basis of meter, even autos will be having meters. That's a different issue. Metered cabs. These services of these public transport using passengers. So these are in the negative list. Okay, then what is there in the mega exemption? It's a different story. And first of all, let us see. Read out the list given in O. That is number 1, stage carriage. Stage carriage, stage wise. This stage, next stage, stage wise carriage. This is public transport stage wise carriage. This is free from service tax. No service tax is imposed. And railways in a class other than first class or AC class. Railway already discussed. And metro, monorail, tramway. Metro, monorail, train or tramway. Tramway. And next, inland waterways. Within the country. Inland waterways. Next, public transport other than for tourism purpose. Public transport. But those used for tourism purpose, no. If it is tourism purpose, it is given no. Okay, it's like this. Say public transport, even public transport in a vessel. In a ship, but it should be local. It should be local. So anything for tourism purpose. If something is for tourism purpose, whether it is by truck, by bus or vessel or whatever it is, that is covered. Service tax is payable on that. So stage carriage, auto, metered cabs, train, but metered cab is there. Radio taxi is taxable. You should know the services of radio taxi, they are taxable. So very important point to understand. So services relating to passengers, these are in the negative list if they are in the nature of public transport, like transport by metro, monorail, train, auto, metered cab, other than of course radio taxi, stage carriage, stage wise, tramway, inland waterways, public transport in a vessel, all are under negative list. What about mega exemption? See, is there any mega exemption category relating to carriage of passengers? Say entry number 22 and entry number 23. Let us see through PPT presentation. Let's go for PPT presentation. Entry number 22. Services by way of giving on hire to a state transport undertaking a motor vehicle meant to carry more than 12 passengers. So, state transport undertaking, this is not government, like Delhi Transport Corporation DTC, like BEST, Mumbai. Public transport. State government is, transport is in the hands of the state government, and if you give your vehicle, like a bus, to carry more than 12 passengers, that is there. Okay. The other one is about goods. If you are giving a vehicle to a goods transport agency by means of transportation goods, that is covered under goods anyway. Next, state transport undertaking means any undertaking providing road transport service where such undertaking is carried on by central government or state government, road transport corporation, any municipality or corporation, etc., Jilla Parishad, etc., etc. That is the category. Next, continuation. And entry number 23. Look at this, exempted services. Transport of passengers with or without accompanied belongings by air embarking from or terminating in. This is a special benefit given to the areas, states of airport in an airport located in Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim or Tripura, or at Bagdogra located in West Bengal. Say these are northeast regions plus Sikkim, some Bagdogra of West Bengal. So air travel to or from these places, these airports, that has been exempt because northeast region is underdeveloped area. Government has done it for air passengers because their traffic is limited and it wants to encourage that way. So in the negative list, we are in the last stage. Negative list, we are at the last stage. That is P, section 66DP. That is about goods. Transport of goods. Yes, it is in the negative list. Public transport from one place to another place. Obviously, because it will inflate cost. Nobody wants it. So, public transport of goods from one place to another place in India. Yes. Transport. But there are two exceptions. That is, except transport of goods through GTA, goods transport agent, this is taxable. And courier, if you do it through courier, this is taxable. So these are two exceptions. Otherwise, this transport is exempt. Similarly, goods from outside India, from outside to Indian customs stations for clearance or whatever it is. So coming to customs station, that is also under the negative list. No tax is payable. And what about other things? See, if you look at the negative list, say inland waterways. inland waterways, by ship, by other means, other conveyances like boats, etc. This is also under the negative list. So, but this is not enough. We have to look into mega exemption here. If you look at mega exemption, entry number 22 and entry number 23. Entry number 23. So, let us go back to PPT presentation in entry number 22 B part. A part is for the passengers or persons, and B part is for goods relating to goods transport agency. If you give a vehicle to a goods transport agent, so look at this B part. Services by of giving on hire to a goods transport agency. A means of transportation of goods are exempt from service tax. So you are giving on hire to a GTA. So here it is exempt. And similarly, state transport undertaking is okay. Next, let's go for 23. Transport of passengers with or without accompanied belongings. This we have already covered. Next, contract carriage for the transport of passengers. This we have covered under O. And what about this one? Ropeway, cable car or aerial tramway are exempt from service tax. These are relating to passengers. And continuation, next, look at this. From one to another, either case stopping, pick, setups of passengers. And next, 23, we'll go back. 23, ropeway, cable car. Okay. So entry number 23 is mainly for persons, and entry number 22 both for passengers and also goods. So subject to these entry numbers exemption, we have the services exempt. So look at exemptions. Let's have a blank page and discuss. Now, how to proceed with preparation? That is very important. Just we have an idea about negative list. So negative listed services we have seen plenty. Say for example, a review, section 66D. I think by now you are able to remember 16 services. Number 1, government. Number 2, RBA. Number 2, foreign diplomatic missions. Number 3. So A, B, C. Okay, I think it is not difficult to remember. Government, RBA and foreign diplomatic missions. ABC. D for agriculture and E, trading. Okay, F for manufacture and G for advertisement and H toll. This is T2, this is T1. There are T4 now, toll charges, and I, lottery. You can say betting, let us put it betting, lottery or gambling. And J, no more. This is about what you can say, events. This is no more. And K, kilowatts, that is electricity, E1. And L, learning, this is education, E2. And K, L, M, makan, that is renting of immovable property for residential purpose. And N, nakad, that is banking or financial services. And O, transport of passengers, T3. P, transport of goods, T1, T2, T3, T4, E1, E2, G, M, G and M. Good morning, barf, E2, T4. That is the formula. And how you should do, it is up to you. I have given you all means of remembering. But what else is left? And you have to read these together with mega exemption. Its connectivity very important. See, for example, in agriculture, transport of paddy is covered under the negative one. Sorry, not transport. Transport, you can say, loading, unloading, or warehousing of paddy, agricultural produce, it is covered there. But warehousing of rice, it is not agricultural produce, it is a product meant for secondary market. Paddy and rice are different. Rice is covered under the mega exemption. You have to refer to entry 2021, etc. So, mega exemption list invariably how to read and read number of times. Okay, that is more to retain, more to read, remember, and retain and recollect than to explain anything, because hardly is there any concept except relating it to, connecting it to mega exemption negative list. Okay, so negative list plus mega exemption put together gives you a picture. And what else is left? So to consolidate this knowledge, what we do is we do some practical questions also. But from your end, what to do, how to do. So keep reading negative list and also mega exemption, and what you should do is immediately practice all questions in practice manual first. If you have access, if it is possible, of course from website it is available. Practice manual, IPC also, sometimes they are giving from questions in final from IPC practice manual also, IPC and final. So institute's practice manual, that is a must. You complete it, do it away, and check up whether you are in a position to solve them or not. And I also have some practical questions for practice. Done. And what else is there? I think mega exemption, this one, it will be okay. Then you have to go to notification number 26/2012. That is about partial exemption, abatement scheme. You have to learn them, you have to practice, you have to learn, you have to practice whatever way you do. So that way you will be consolidating your knowledge. First master the negative list part with mega exemption, including practical questions. Then, so all the best, and our services are available. Feel free to write to CALS or send a mail to CALS